It is 7 a.m. Friday in Kiev, and the Russian invasion of Ukraine rolls on into the second day. This is a live view of Maidan Square in the heart of the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. Looks rather calm over there, but the last 24 hours has been anything but, with explosions and gunfire reported across the country. Hello, I'm Lin Fu. The latest developments in the Ukraine crisis. Some 100,000 Ukrainians have been fleeing the country in the last 24 hours, many of them by foot. The ones who can leave are doing so, and they're heading to neighbouring European countries. Poland, Hungary, Slovakia and Romania all share land borders with Ukraine, a nation of 44 million people. That's raising concerns about a huge wave of refugees rushing to get out in the coming days and weeks. For some who fled, it's been an extremely emotional journey.
Oh, just shattered, not for myself, I don't care about my own safety. I care about Ukraine.
She has family.
And Ukrainians. I'm of Ukrainian heritage, and to see this happening to the country is just devastating. I just can't believe someone could be so evil.
Meanwhile, more countries are teaming up to punish Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida this morning announcing additional sanctions taking aim at Russian semiconductor exports, banks and individuals. But he did not provide details of the scale of the sanctions or the names of those targeted. Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison also unveiling fresh sanctions against Russia. He says countries should be taking every step possible to ensure Russia pays a price in the international community.
Today, Australia will be beginning imposing further sanctions on oligarchs whose economic weight is of strategic significance to Moscow, and over 300 members of the Russian Duma, their parliament, who voted to authorise the use of Russian troops in Ukraine to illegally invade Ukraine.
The Chernobyl nuclear power plant has been captured by Russian forces, according to a top Ukrainian official. Calling it a totally pointless attack by the Russians, he said it is impossible to say if the plant is safe. It is unclear what Russia's motive is. The now unused Chernobyl plant and its surrounding exclusion zone is still a radioactive site. The chief of Britain's foreign spy service, known as MI6, has tweeted about intelligence on Ukraine, saying that the US and UK exposed Vladimir Putin's attempts to engineer false flag attacks to justify his invasion. While spy agencies on both sides of the Atlantic got the timing of the invasion right, almost to the hour, it was not enough to prevent Mr. Putin from carrying out the full-scale assault on Ukraine. Global Affairs correspondent Jonathan Eyal joins me now from London. Jonathan, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson unveiling a package of what he calls severe sanctions against Russia, but are they really?
Well, in some respects, they are very profound. I mean, let's not forget, London is one of the two biggest financial centers in the world. And as of early next week, it would be impossible for any Russian bank to have any transactions in London, to raise any funds in London, to conduct any payments out of London. So that would be a profound impact on the Russian financial sector. There's over 100 people that are going to be banned from having any transactions in the UK or even being in the UK, all the so-called billionaire oligarchs close to Putin, and indeed Putin's immediate family as well will be touched by this. But if you ask me whether they are really likely to throttle the Russian economy and change the mind of President Putin, the simple answer is no. The Russian state has very large foreign currency reserves at the moment, and it would take a long time before Russia will start paying the price for the kind of sanctions.
Now, Russia has taken the Chernobyl nuclear plant, and we're hearing reports that soldiers are holding staff there hostage. This has clearly raised nuclear fears, hasn't it?
Well, not directly nuclear fears in the sense that one would have to come from another planet to consider interfering with a Chernobyl inactive but reactive nuclear reactor. The problem is not that. I suspect that the Russians rushed to occupy it precisely in order not to allow the Ukrainians to create headlines over this and over the safety of the region. What it does indicate, however, which is important, is that the Russians are looking to take over the entire state. You wouldn't have taken over such installations which have no military value unless you wanted to control the whole state and you wanted to control the narrative about the Ukrainian state. So what we're looking at is an attempt to take over an entire country, not merely a limited military operation like Mr. Putin was saying yesterday.
Ukraine's president warning of a new iron curtain falling as Russian troops advance. Is he right, do you think? And how do you think the invasion will change the face of Europe?
Well, Europe has been changed in a way that can never be reversed. You now have a war in the heart of Europe, a full-scale war, something that everyone thought was banished from the European continent after the end of the Second World War in 1945. But I think that the Ukrainian President Zelensky was right in one respect. This is not about the Ukraine. This is about dividing Europe into spheres of influence. What President Putin of Russia demanded is that certain countries should be acknowledged and accept that they are part of a sphere of influence of Russia and that it's not up to them to decide what they do on the international arena. He has created a new philosophy of limited sovereignty of individual countries, whereby Moscow decides how much freedom they exercise. So if the Russian gambit succeeds, yes, you are looking about a new Iron Curtain falling in the middle of Europe.
Thank you very much for that analysis, Jonathan. Jonathan Eyal, our global affairs correspondent. For a deeper discussion on the Russian invasion of Ukraine and what it means for Asia, we've lined up a special roundtable featuring veteran Singapore diplomat Kishore Mahbubani. Join him and our very own Jonathan Eyal, Ravi Vellu, and foreign editor Bhagyashree Gareka on Tuesday, March the 1st. It will be available on the Straits Times' YouTube channel from 11 a.m. One Singaporean in Ukraine tells the Straits Times the situation in Kiev is tense as the conflict is now literally at his doorstep. Former actor Exchang has been living in Kiev since October last year, and here's more of what he told us from his balcony.
Right now is I'm stocked up. I have sufficient rations and water to last through a period of time. As long as electricity is still available and internet is still available, I don't think I need to evacuate yet, because evacuating raises another whole series of problems. And my wife is Ukrainian. She's part of the reservists here. So if she, in the event that she becomes mobilized and she becomes that medical officer in the army, then perhaps I know that she's well taken care of. Until my wife and the family are pretty well taken care of, I think I will be able to contribute a lot more being here than being back in Singapore.
And you can watch ST's full interview with Exchang on our YouTube channel. And remember to subscribe to us so you won't miss any of our breaking news updates. Activate the bell icon on YouTube and you will be notified the next time we go live. I'm Linley Fu. Thanks for watching.